guys, so this is my first video. I'm making this video, I'll try and make it shorter than the last one. So I am making a video to kind of, as a way to look back for myself and others to maybe get some knowledge and kind of, see what I'm going through so that it may help others. I've seen a lot of other women especially post videos in regards to this, so I kind of wanted to make my own and kind of keep a document per se as I go. So this video is about Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism and also papillary thyroid cancer. So I kind of figured out something was wrong was toward the beginning of the year I was having stomach problems, which led to constipation, and I ended up getting testing done to figure out maybe if I had like some sort of stomach issue. They said maybe it's gastritis or, irritable bowel syndrome or something like that, and I was like, well, I guess we can't be sure. I actually had a colonoscopy and an endoscopy done, and that's all they seemed to really chalk it up to. So I was having constipation, and I was frustrated because I couldn't figure out like what was going on with my body. Eventually I started having sleep problems, which I also chalked up to be nothing. I thought it was maybe some sort of depression, anxiety, and getting through things that I had previously gone through in my life that I never really faced. So I kind of put that to be as why I was having sleeping problems. Well, my sleeping problems were waking up a lot in the night, not sleeping, and not only that, I was sweating profusely. I was just drenched from head to toe. I ended up seeing someone that was able to put me on medication to help me sleep at night, and I eventually said to him, well, hey, can I get a sleep study done? I can't figure out why I'm not sleeping. Nothing seems to be helping me. I'm struggling really bad. I thought that maybe depression medication would help, and things seemed to be okay, but I was still sweating in the night, like profusely. It was really bad. Not only that, I was going to work. It's the middle of summer right now. It's 80s, 90s. I am in an office setting / building that has an AC, but it's not. It's more or less room temperature. So when I go to work, I'm freezing all the time. I'm wearing long sleeves with pullover over it and long pants. That wasn't helping me. I was still freezing. I have people come into my office all the time and say, hey, what's up? Why is it so hot in here? And I'm just like, I don't know, I thought maybe I'm small. Maybe, that's why I'm so cold all the time. But even when I go out, I get cold. When I have a motorcycle that I ride, and I started getting cold while riding that in hot weather, which was completely not normal for me. So I have endometriosis, which causes my menstrual cycles to be way off. So they put me on medication to regulate that. They told me, you shouldn't get a period going forward because of the medication. So I didn't. It's been quite some time since I've had one, thankfully, because that in itself is a whole other story that, I hope if you think you might have, you also get checked for that. That's a different video for another day. So out of the blue, I kind of got spotting. I was having spotting, breakthrough bleeding for 2 full months. So finally I had enough. I said, you know what, something's not right. I was sleeping a lot after work. I was tired. I didn't feel right. I didn't feel like myself. Sometimes I was sad, and it wasn't fun. So finally I called my OB/GYN and I said, hey, this is what's going on. I have this period that won't go away, even though I'm on medication that's supposed to stop it. So she says, all right, well, let's come in for an office visit. And she's asking me some questions and finally says to me, well, that sounds unusual for you. Why don't we test your thyroid? And I said, okay. So that was the next thing we did. She did blood work, sent the blood work over to my primary care, at which point my primary called and said, hey, your level is at a 44. Your level, or my level anyway, is supposed to be between 0.4 and 4 again, so mine was 10 times what it was supposed to be, which was just way off the charts. So they ended up diagnosing me with hypothyroid, and they had asked me, do you want to get tested for the autoimmune disease? And I said, you know, why not? I'd like to know some sort of a cause, or if there is a cause. They told me a lot of times that this is sort of genetic, that it's passed down through families, and so they asked me, you know, is anyone in your family having any thyroid problems, or do you know of any history of it? And I said, no, none. No one in my family has had any problems. And they said, you know, have you had any radiation or anything to the head and neck? And I said, no, nothing over the years. I mean, I've had basic dental work done and, you know, the x-rays and whatnot, but nothing major. So they did more blood work, and they said, all right, well, you have something called Hashimoto's disease. That's something you can Google if you're unfamiliar with it. Again, I'm making this video pretty late. I'm tired and just trying to get it over with. So yeah, so they told me both of those things, and I was like, okay, you know, what's the next step? And they told me, well, you're going to be on medication. And I said, okay. They said, you know, we'll try and get your levels to be maintained. They then asked me if I wanted to get an ultrasound of my thyroid done to see if there is potentially any nodules. And I said, well, you know, is it necessary, or what are the chances? And they said, well, a lot of the population does have nodules, but there are a lot of times there's nothing wrong with them. And I said, okay, well, you know, it can't hurt. And they did the ultrasound, and I got a call a few days later, essentially telling me that they found a nodule, but then they proceeded to say, well, it looks suspicious. I did all the research possible. I looked up all the definitions of the radiologist's report, and I was like, oh, this can't be good. I didn't say anything to anyone as far as me thinking it was, you know, bad per se, or that there was something wrong. I just filled everyone in like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what it could, you know, what it could be. I did tell one person that I had a bad feeling that there was something wrong. Something was off. So they went in. The next step was a biopsy. It's called a fine needle aspiration biopsy. They take the ultrasound probe and put it right where the nodule is, and then they stick needles into it to pull out cell samples to test them. So they then called me 2 days later on a Friday night. I had just started a vacation of mine from work, and they said, you have papillary thyroid cancer. And I said, okay, what's the next step? You know, tried to remain calm, and finally I was like, okay. They told me that I'm going to want to get this removed. They couldn't tell me too much of the details because it was my primary care. The other doctor had just sent it over like last minute, and then she called me just to let me know. So I went through the weekend. I had told my parents I wasn't going to at first, because I was like, I don't want to put any bad news on their plates, but I was like, you know what, it's the right thing for me to do. So I decided to tell them. I waited quite some time to tell a lot of other people. I told my sister, and then told a couple of friends. So it's been about a month since I was diagnosed. I went to see a surgeon a few weeks ago, at which point she told me mine's located right in the isthmus, which is a really small portion of the thyroid. It's right in the middle, which you can't get that part removed without taking the whole thyroid out. So she said the only way to rid you of this cancer is to take the thyroid out. And she said, well, on top of that, you have Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism, so getting it removed is not necessarily a bad thing. And I said, okay, I gotta do what I gotta do. So she scheduled me for a thyroidectomy, a total thyroidectomy, I should say. I'm going in tomorrow to get it taken out. There's small risks associated, voice change, Could be temporary, could be permanent, and then your calcium levels could be fluctuating depending on if they touch the parathyroid glands, I guess they're called. So yeah, she told me that there's small risks associated with it. If you do get your thyroid taken out, you do have to stay on medication for the rest of your life after that. I'm most likely going to make more videos going forward, just to kind of share my journey with other people and, you know, inform others of what I'm going through, and maybe help answer some questions if anyone has any that wants to put them down in the comments below. I will be making probably some sort of a diet change. I don't eat the best, I don't eat the worst, I'm kind of right in the middle. So that's something that probably I'm going to make a change to. But as far as going forward, they told me it's going to be about a year before my body finally decides to kind of like regulate itself. We have to get the levothyroxine at a good level. You know, but I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to sleep more, getting a good quality sleep, not being cold all the time, because that's really hard for me. I'm a snowboarder, so it's especially hard when I'm like extra cold. I mean, I do sweat when I snowboard, but at the same time, I get cold very easily. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Again, the surgery is tomorrow. Today is August 23rd, 2020, so I'm going in I have to be there at 6 a.m. It's an hour drive for me, so it's going to be, you know, 4:45 when I hit the road, and they said I should be home the same day within 6 hours or so. My mom's bringing me up there, and yeah, so I'm going to get that done, and I will make another video after all of that is said and done. Again, if anyone has any questions, this is completely new to me, putting a video on YouTube, so you know, feel free to leave questions or comments in the section below, and I will try to respond. Also, for the record, statistically, it's more common for women to have this than men. I am 23 years old. Yeah, so this should be an interesting. So I will keep you guys updated. Yeah, thanks for watching.